What if I told you that most Americans will never reach $25,000 in savings in their entire lifetime? Not because they don't earn enough, not because they're lazy, but because nobody ever explained what actually happens when you cross that number. Today, I'm going to change that. And if you stick around until the end, you'll understand exactly why $25,000 isn't just a savings goal. It's a turning point that rewires how you think, how you spend, and how fast your money grows. Let's get into it. Here's the reality most people don't want to face. According to recent data, the average American household saves less than 5% of what they earn. And with the cost of living rising every single year, groceries, rent, utilities, insurance, most people are spending almost everything that comes in before they even realize it. Now, yes, the average American has somewhere around $45,000 saved, but that number is completely misleading. A small group of high earners at the top pulls that average way up. When you look at the median, the middle, it tells a very different story. Millions of people are sitting with almost nothing in reserve. So if you haven't hit $25,000 yet, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind, you are not failing, you are normal. But here's what I also want you to understand. Once you do cross that line, something shifts, and it's bigger than you think. Before you reach $25,000, you are operating in what I call survival mode. Every dollar you earn already has somewhere to be before it even hits your account. Rent, car payment, groceries, phone bill, electric bill. You're constantly doing mental math, bouncing between accounts, wondering if you can cover the thing you need, not even the thing you want. And here's what most people don't know about that kind of stress. Research in behavioral economics shows that financial pressure actually shrinks your cognitive bandwidth. That means you make worse decisions, not because you're not smart, but because your brain is already working overtime just to survive the week. You can't think long-term when you're drowning in short-term problems. And that's the real trap. The people who need to think long-term the most are the ones who have the hardest time doing it. Think about the kinds of decisions financial stress forces on you. Do I fill up the gas tank now or wait until Friday? Do I get the oil changed or push it another month and hope for the best? These might seem like small choices, but they drain you. They steal mental energy that could be going towards something that actually builds your future. And the worst part? You don't even notice it happening. You just feel tired, stuck, like you're running hard but going nowhere. That exhaustion, that feeling of being trapped, it doesn't come from laziness. It comes from a brain that's being pulled in 10 directions at once with no room left to breathe. So why does $25,000 change all of this? It's not about what you can buy with it, it's about what it takes away. It takes away the fear. When you've got $25,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account, earning 4, 5, even 5.5% interest right now, you have a real buffer between you and disaster. Your water heater breaks. You handle it. Your car needs 4 new tires. Covered. You lose your job unexpectedly. You've got 3 to 4 months of breathing room to figure out your next move. Without panic, without desperation, without making a bad decision just to survive. That breathing room changes everything. And here's what most people completely underestimate. When you're not stressed about money, you sleep better. When you sleep better, you show up sharper at work. When you show up sharper, you perform better, earn more, and get noticed. When you earn more, you save faster. It becomes a loop, a positive one, that touches every corner of your life. Your health improves because you're not skipping doctor visits to save $100. Your relationships get better because you're not fighting about bills every other week. Your confidence changes because you're not walking into every situation already stretched thin. And something else happens too. You start to notice opportunities you were too stressed to see before. A skill you could develop. A side project with real potential. An investment that actually makes sense. When your brain isn't consumed by financial anxiety, it finally has room to think bigger. And that shift in thinking, that mental expansion, is honestly worth more than the $25,000 itself. Now here's where the numbers get interesting. $25,000 is also the point where compound interest stops being invisible. Think about it this way. If you've got $2,000 saved and it's earning 5% interest, that's only $100 a year. You barely notice it. It doesn't feel real. But $25,000 at that same 5% rate gives you $1,250 a year in pure interest, without you doing a single extra thing. Your money is generating real, noticeable returns. It's doing work while you're asleep. And as you keep adding to it, that number keeps climbing. That's the moment most people never experience because they give up before they get there. But compound interest is only part of the story. The other part happens inside you. When you've saved $25,000, you've done something most people around you haven't. You've proven to yourself, with real evidence, that you can delay gratification, that you can say no to things that don't serve your future, that you are, in fact, someone who builds wealth. And that identity shift is powerful. Before, every purchase was tied to emotion. You'd buy things to feel better because your financial situation made you feel awful. But once you've got that cushion, the impulse spending fades. You stop paying for subscriptions you forgot about. You stop ordering food you didn't really want because you were bored. You stop buying things to impress people who don't even care. Your spending becomes intentional. And intentional spending. That's the actual difference between people who earn money and people who build wealth. Let's talk about what $25,000 practically unlocks. First, real investing. With $25,000, you can start putting money into index funds and ETFs beyond just your savings account. Broad-based U.S. index funds have historically delivered average annual returns of 7 to 10% over the long term. That means your money isn't just keeping up with inflation, it's actually growing your net worth in a meaningful way. Second, negotiating power. When you're not desperate, you negotiate differently. You can ask for a raise and mean it, because you could walk away if you had to. You can take a calculated risk on a career change or a side business without the terror of missing rent. Third, it breaks the cycle. Most Americans are stuck in the earn and spend loop. Money comes in, money goes out. The cycle repeats every 2 weeks. $25,000 creates a gap in that loop, a gap that grows wider every month. And fourth, the way the world responds to you changes. Not because you're flashing money around, but because confidence, real, stable confidence, shows up differently in job interviews, in negotiations, in how you carry yourself when things get hard. People sense stability, and that shifts how opportunities come to you. So, how do you actually get there if you're not there yet? 3 things. 1. Get honest about where your money is going right now. Track every dollar for 30 days. No judgment, just data. Most people find between $300 and $600 a month in spending they didn't even realize was happening. 2. Automate your savings. Set up an automatic transfer on payday so the money moves before you ever touch it. Pay yourself first. This is not optional. This is the foundation. 3. Close the gap between what you earn and what you spend. You can only cut so much. At some point, you have to earn more. Ask for that raise. Start a side hustle. Sell the stuff you're not using. Every extra dollar that goes into savings compresses the timeline. Here's the last thing I want you to hold on to. The hardest part of this entire journey is the stretch between 0 and 25,000. That's where it feels like nothing is working, like the progress is invisible, like the sacrifices aren't worth it, but they are. Every deposit, no matter how small, is moving you closer to the line where everything changes. The math works, the psychology works. You just have to stay in the game long enough to feel it click. And when it does click, you'll look back at this moment and understand exactly why it was worth it. If this gave you something to think about, subscribe to Money IQ Pro and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. I'll see you in the next one.